They drilled 12,262 meters into Earth and heard screaming. That's the story that spread worldwide in 1989. Soviet scientists working on the Kola Superdeep Borehole allegedly lowered a heat-resistant microphone into the shaft. What the recording captured made hardened geologists refuse to return to work. Screams. Thousands of them. Human voices wailing in agony from 7 miles underground. The Norwegian teacher who broke the story claimed a Soviet scientist smuggled out the tape. Within weeks, newspapers in 19 countries ran the headline, "Scientists Discover Hell." Radio stations played the alleged audio. Millions heard it. Churches used it in sermons. But here's what nobody knew at the time. The Kola borehole was real. The deepest hole humanity ever drilled. It took 24 years to create. Cost over $100 million. What they actually found down there was stranger than any hoax. And the reason the project stopped has nothing to do with screaming souls. May 24, 1970. The Soviet Union launched the most ambitious drilling project in history. Location, Kola Peninsula, 10 kilometers from the Norwegian border. Goal, pierce deeper into Earth's crust than any nation had achieved. The Americans had drilled offshore wells. The Soviets wanted to go straight down on land. Project director David Guberman assembled a team of 16 geologists. They used the Euromash 4E drilling rig, the most powerful in existence. The target depth, 15,000 meters. Nearly 10 miles straight into the planet. Why do this? The Cold War wasn't just about space and weapons. It was about knowledge. Whoever understood Earth's interior could predict earthquakes, find mineral deposits worth billions, maybe discover new forms of energy. The Kola region was chosen for a reason. Ancient rock. Billions of years old. The Soviets believed they'd find the Conrad discontinuity, a theoretical boundary between granite and basalt layers. American geologists said it existed. Soviet scientists wanted proof. For the first 7 years, everything went smoothly. By 1977, they'd reached 7,000 meters. Deeper than any hole in history. The drill bit was breaking records. But here's what they didn't expect. The temperature readings made no sense. At 7,000 meters down, thermometers showed 120 degrees Celsius. Way hotter than models predicted. By 1983, they hit 12,000 meters. Temperature, 180 degrees Celsius. That's 356 degrees Fahrenheit. Hot enough to melt drill bits in minutes. They had to redesign equipment constantly. Each drill bit lasted maybe 2 hours before metal fatigue destroyed it. Replacing it meant pulling 12 kilometers of pipe back up. That took weeks. But temperature wasn't the only surprise. At 9,000 meters, they found water. Liquid water. This deep, it shouldn't exist. The pressure should have turned it to exotic ice forms or steam. Yet instruments detected hydrogen. Free hydrogen, saturating ancient rock. Then came the biological impossibility. At 6,700 meters, they pulled up rock samples containing microscopic plankton fossils. Fossilized single-celled organisms. At depths where science said life had never existed. The pressure down there is over 4,000 atmospheres. These organisms lived billions of years ago, somehow preserved in crystalline rock. Guberman's team published findings in scientific journals. 14 papers between 1977 and 1987. They'd proven the Conrad discontinuity didn't exist where Americans thought. The granite layer continued far deeper. This challenged fundamental geology. But in 1984, something changed. At 12,066 meters, the drill suddenly dropped. It fell 15 meters through what seemed like a cavity. Sensors indicated the bit was spinning in empty space. A hollow chamber. Over 1,300 degrees Celsius. Then the equipment jammed. When they finally extracted it, the drill bit had partially melted. More disturbing, the rock samples that came up were fractured in ways they'd never seen. Microscopic analysis showed the granite had become plastic from heat and pressure. It was flowing like honey. What happened next made geologists question everything. The drilling stopped permanently in 1992. Official reason: temperatures exceeded 230 degrees Celsius at 12,262 meters. Equipment couldn't handle it. The project had cost the equivalent of $120 million. But here's what actually matters. The Sounds from Hell story was completely fake. Norwegian teacher Age Rendelin admitted in 1990 he fabricated it. He combined the real Kola borehole with a separate urban legend about screaming sounds. The audio played on radio stations? A remix of a 1972 Italian horror movie soundtrack. Barren Blood, directed by Mario Bava. Nobody verified it before publishing. The story spread because it confirmed what people wanted to believe. But the hoax buried the real story. What Soviet scientists actually discovered was terrifying for different reasons. The rock samples from 12 kilometers down contained methane deposits. Huge amounts. More than all known reserves in some countries. Not from decomposed organisms. Primordial methane. Trapped since Earth's formation 4.5 billion years ago. This suggested something radical. Oil and gas might not just come from dead dinosaurs. Some could be abiogenic. Formed by geological processes in the mantle. If true, petroleum reserves could be vastly larger than estimated. Trillion-dollar implications. The fossil plankton found at impossible depths suggested Earth's crust recycled organic material through subduction in ways never theorized. Life and geology were interconnected across billions of years. The Kola borehole cores remain the deepest direct samples of Earth we've ever obtained. They're stored in Zapolyarny, in a facility that's now abandoned. After the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, funding vanished. The rig was dismantled in 2008. Today, the site is rusted metal and a welded cap. But here's what keeps geologists awake. The borehole is still there. Still descending 12,262 meters. Still the deepest hole humans ever made. And we barely scratched the surface. Earth's mantle begins at 35 kilometers down. We reached 1/3 of the way through the crust. The temperature rise suggests we'd need materials that don't exist to go deeper. We've sent robots to Mars. Probes to Jupiter. Telescopes to observe galaxies 13 billion light-years away. But we've never gone deeper than 12,262 meters into our own planet. The Kola Superdeep Borehole taught us that Earth's interior is stranger than our best models predicted. Hotter. Wetter. More chemically active. The hoax about screaming souls reveals something darker about human nature. We're so ready to believe in hidden terrors that we don't check facts. The real story, backed by 14 published scientific papers and physical rock samples, got buried under a fabricated horror tale. Today, China is attempting a new record. The China National Petroleum Corporation started drilling in Xinjiang in 2023. Target depth, 11,100 meters. They're using technology the Soviets couldn't dream of. Diamond-coated bits. Real-time pressure sensors. If they succeed, we'll learn more about the planet beneath our feet. But the Kola hole remains deeper. A Soviet-era monument to human curiosity. If a story like this kept you here, subscribe. We drop a new mystery every week. And if you think we know everything about Earth, wait until you hear what's happening at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. That's a different kind of impossible. Subscribe for a new dark truth every day.